The thing is that if someone doesn't know about the mechanics of what some other entities practice, I mean, they're saying it out of their mouths what it is they practice. Right now, you can make a fucking randomized ritual right now that makes no sense to you, and it makes completely sense to someone else. Right now, you can take a rubber chicken and slap someone 5 times to them. That's a fucking ritual. The fact of the matter is, what are the cause and effects, and why are they looking to cause what? How does that ripple out individually, collectively, at the civilizational scale? That is what you have to get more precise about. Alright, so there's no theory there. It has been documented, and the whole continent is the receipts. You have too many credible grown adults across the top fields of information that have already shown sufficient credible tangible documentation that shows you the stated tangible truths and the types of humans who exist. They're not even humans. Them specific corrupt oligarchs. Bad apples are not humans. The ways they have been documented deliberately causing tangible cause and effects, desperately, strategically, deliberately ending too many of the human lives, crimes against humanity. The moment that you go about murdering about 5 human lives deliberately, you're no longer human, and the people are able to see the tangible results of that. They're entities, okay? They're embodiments because they lost their humanity. The reason why they lost their humanity is because of what they went about doing, what they tangibly did. They don't value human life, so they're not human. They went about destroying human lives deliberately. They're not human. Your brief molecular body is going to disappear. It's about your actions day to day and how it ripples out individually, collectively, and at the civilizational scale. While you're anchored here, what are you tangibly leaving? What are you permeating? What are you putting into the environment, physical reality, and the landscape of the particular civilization? And the core of the population is getting more precise to make worthy accountability and to help the particular civilization. Specific corrupt oligarchs, bad apples. The way they went about misusing currencies and misusing the power consolidations, and the way they went about, especially over the last 5 decades, desperately hijacking key government sectors, going up the ranks and weaponizing those hijacked key government sectors against the core of the populations, our American people, our American population, and against the humanity across the continents. That's what a lot of credible grown adults have already caught on to this. That's what the intelligence agencies in fighting has been about. This is what the battle of the networks is about, and you have to really improve your abilities to get precise about that. So that's all we're going to say right now. The first step is you recognizing the tangible truths about the failing civilizational model, and what is the common enemy, and how are you going to legally mobilize in a way that has never been seen before in the particular civilization. That way you can go about making a new civilizational model that actually is from the core of the populations. You have to update when you allow too much negligence. You end up seeing the tangible result of that. So the tangible reality is that yes, there are some embodiments, some entities that aren't even human. They're wearing human flesh, in molecular human flesh. But they've lost their humanity a long time ago due to everything that they went about misusing and weaponizing against the core of the populations, and now you're gonna have to clean it. There's some people that are too disconnected, and that tangibly causes them to be problems to themselves and others individually, collectively, and at the civilizational scale. And you have to be able to make the distinction. You cannot believe in the left and the right, because they both answer to the same handler. The specific corrupt oligarchs' bad apples have to be counterbalanced and legally eradicated now. And you have to do your part to not show any loyalty towards a failing civilizational model in a 2-party system that hasn't showed you no loyalty. They have worsened debt over the last 5 decades. They have done everything possible to deplete your quality of life to make labor cheaper, because they want cheap labor, and they've misused your families in the military and the police force. They've worsened your quality of life, and they've also desperately misused your military to hide vital information away from you. They weaponize your judicial system and your laws to basically hide a whole bunch of patents from people who come from the core of the populations and have actual incentives. We want to boost the quality of life of the particular civilization. You know how many patents are being sat on because those specific corrupt oligarchs, bad apples, strategically and desperately hijack those key government sectors and have forced people from the core of the population to sign a piece of paper that says, oh, you cannot disclose the information. Guess what? Too much is not working out at this point already as is. What does that mean? It means that you cannot allow them to try to hide vital information that will make you more competent because you have to be able to make informed decisions, and they don't want you to make the informed decisions. They don't want you to become competent because then you start improving your discernment abilities, your distinction abilities, you start looking in the right places, you improve your abilities to figure out and look in the right places. And that then causes the core of the population to make a network that goes about bringing new tangible mechanisms and makes the specific corrupt oligarchs' bad apples be counterbalanced and legally eradicated now. And that's what a lot of fellow credible grown adults have caught on to. So we're asking you to please do your part. Look up what the new open source ledger and accountability button is, and add on to it. And please do your part to inform the core of the populations about a lot of tangible truths that you have learned about, because now you have to make a stronger network that actually comes from the core of the populations, and you're going to have to counterbalance, and the new open source ledger and accountability button is going to help you to be able to make the specific corrupt oligarchs, bad apples, be void, nullified, counterbalanced, and legally eradicated. Now you have to make the decision to not allow the failing civilizational model anymore. The greatest debates already happened now. It's a matter about getting on the same page where it counts the most, and we're going to continue to articulate that in many similar ways to help the core of populations legally mobilize in a way that has never been seen before. You cannot riot. You cannot protest. That's too ineffective. They have already damaged and thrown civil unrest against the court of populations. Now when you legally mobilize, it will be retribution, but you cannot just legally mobilize blindly. You have to get on the same page where it counts the most. You have to gather your families in the military, gather your families in the police force. You have to decide a month, and on that month, you're going to go past the open source ledger and accountability button, which we're going to go into very soon, and we invite fellow credible grown adults to add on even more. These are things that you are recognizing the tangible truths about what has been in the landscape that has been holding back the particular civilization. You cannot allow those who have already misused everything at their disposal, and you have seen the tangible results for yourself. Too many credible grown adults and the core of the populations have seen the tangible results for themselves. And we just ask that you do your part, be responsible, because the cause and effects you are seeing, it is rippling. It is impacting the children. You're seeing the strategic corrupt artificial symptoms thrown against the core of the population and against the particular civilization. You can see the tangible cause and effects, and the credible documented tangible correlations shows you the stated actual bigger picture and the core of the population having to now make the stated actual new tangible mechanisms and the new open source ledger and accountability button and help the core of the population and the particular civilization. Too many children are ending up with cancer. The rate of cancer has increased too much because of the strategic deliberate negligence and the strategically misshaped failing civilizational models, where the words especially over the last 5 decades has not matched the actions, and the actions have not matches the output and the tangible outcomes. The fellow credible grown adults across the top fields of information and the core of the population is getting precise about. The core of the population and the entire continent is the receipts. You don't have to wait to see it in a little piece of paper when the entire lived reality and the entire continent is the living proof. You can't have cause without effect. You can't cherry pick that. You can't throw strategic, corrupt, selective amnesia. And now the core of the population is to make the new stated actual tangible mechanisms, the new open source ledger and the accountability button. This unworthy failing civilizational model, isn't it? They're sitting on a whole bunch of already existing advanced molecular technology, and they're misusing extractive currencies and misusing a sector of the intelligence agencies to go after anyone that comes from the core of populations they have been murdering. Too many of the core of the populations, geniuses and innovators from the core of the populations, it has already been documented. It was not just Danny Casolaro. There's a whole ton of credible grown adults who have been getting threatened coarse silence, and the currency has been getting misused. The extracted currencies that have been extracted from the core of populations has been getting misused, and too many credible grown adults have stepped forward about the tangible truths. So now, in order for you to prevent the specific corrupt oligarchs' bad apples from misusing any more extracted currencies, you're going to have to make the new tangible mechanisms. You're going to have to place a new open source ledger and accountability button and make all the specific corrupt oligarchs' bad apples objectively be counterbalanced and legally eradicated. Now you're seeing the tangible results for yourself. If low-level thugs know that they have to eliminate witnesses. Are you really surprised? You already confirmed the types of embodiments that are in at this moment, unfortunately, within the landscape, and you're going to have to make them be counterbalanced and legally eradicated now. Counterbalance those types of embodiments. You're going to have to make them counterbalanced, so it is not far-fetched. At this point, you know what those types of embodiments are willing to do when they go about misusing everything at their disposal. It's not far-fetched at this point because too many credible grown adults have stepped forward and have informed the core of populations about the stated, tangible truths. You know the types of embodiments that have to be counterbalanced. You have seen the tangible results for yourselves. You cannot allow this failing civilizational model anymore. The specific corrupt oligarchs, bad apples, have to be counterbalanced and legally eradicated now. And essentially the first step is you noting what is in the environment. If low-level thugs know they have to get rid of evidences and witnesses, it's not a surprise those who have desperately sought to go up the ranks and have been misusing key government sectors against the core of the populations, against a particular civilization, and those embodiments, the specific corrupt oligarchs, bad apples, have to be counterbalanced and legally eradicated now, and the United States melting pot is going to have to set the example first. The core of population is going to have to set the example first and go about helping the particular civilization.